As you start the vacation house, a few tips and reminders. First off, when you go to New, make sure you click Browse and you pick the Fox Ridge template from the top, hit Open and OK to start with a fresh, clean document with all the right settings, the right plans, setup, everything ready to go. Now in your plans, you actually have some size maximums. So a helpful tool for that is the Model Line tool. When you click the Model Line tool, you have several different drawing tools here. I'm going to use the Rectangle tool. To draw a rectangle, and I'm not worried about getting it to be the exact size right now because I can fix it later. I'm going to click my Modify arrow, and as I click one of the sides, I have these modifying dimensions that I can set to be, by clicking once on the number, I can set them to be whatever size I need. So that's the 30-foot one, and I'm going to set this also as a 30-foot dimension because that was the maximum in my requirements. You don't have to necessarily set these as maximums because one of the other requirements in the directions does say that there must be a minimum 2 feet difference between your overall width and depth. So if you would prefer in Revit, you could actually set this up to be a rectangle with a 2-foot difference. That way you could trace your walls on the marks all the way around. Not a bad choice. Now when I go to put walls in, I'm going to make sure I have an exterior type of any kind. Now because I have a maximum size this time, I'm going to actually change my location line to be finished face exterior. This is not a requirement, but if I really want to maximize my size by clicking on some of these endpoints, it really is helpful. So I'm going to come down here, click, come down some, click over, down for a while, go straight across, and click up at the top. You'll notice I wasn't too concerned about measurement because I know I can change it later. Okay, now here's the thing. If I want to change the height here, I can click either on this wall or on this wall. Now a little tip is you want to click on the wall that you actually want to move. So I'm going to click on this one because this is the one I want to go up or down. You'll notice that from the top edge, it tells me it's 8'6". When I click this, if I only wanted it 8 feet, I can change that. And you can see it's the wall that changed. Now, I might click this to try to change the overall height. But as you can see, it gives me two measurements. The first one is from the outside to down below. The second one is up to the nearest corner. So all of these modifying dimensions have these little blue handles on them. So what I can do is I can click and drag this up and come to the very edge of the wall and let go. And it's now referencing that point. I can do the same down here at the bottom and move this to the outside. And now my dimension tells me I have 27 feet 6 inches. Now, per my 2-foot difference, I'm actually good with this. But if I would want my maximum space, I can see that side to side, I'm on those edges. So I know I'm at 30 there. So this can be a maximum of 28. And again, I clicked that bottom to stay inside my box because that's the wall I want to move. After sizing everything up, I would suggest opening your 3D view. The reason I'm going to do this is I'm going to zoom in. I'm also going to hold Shift and hold the mouse button down to pivot around and make sure all of my walls are set with the siding on the outside. Because what might happen is when you come back here, you might have to click on it and flip one of your walls. And if you do, you might have to do some resizing. I'm going to go ahead and flip mine back so it starts the way it needs to. Okay? A lot of the interior rooms can be set up the same way. As I grab a wall tool and I switch to my interior 4.5-inch partition, I can just decide, okay, I'm going to make a room over here and come down and across. And just similar to the way we did it in our other drawings, I can click on it and say, okay, I want this room to be 10 feet wide. I'm going to click on the other wall, and I want this room to be 12 foot in this way. I can then start to create all of the internal partitions that divide up my space. This is nice to do now because then you'll know where do I absolutely have to have windows, because bedrooms have to have windows in them. Where do I need to have different floor types and all that before you move on. If there are any things that you're struggling with, make sure you ask your teacher for further tips and tricks.